All right. Hi, everybody. It's Adele Frizzell here with,
Tiffany Buck here.
and we are really excited to share with you our data. We actually have been collecting for the last 3 years some body composition data and tracked people's progress and results in our Transformer program. And we're going to share you a sample from our last cohort, which ran May to August in the Transformer program. And these ladies were typically consuming about 800 to 1,000 calories a day. And we tracked things like, what was their sleep like, their energy like, their hunger like, how much muscle did they lose, how much weight did they lose, what was the average weight loss, which was the average muscle loss. Because people will tell you, you put somebody on a very low calorie diet and they are not going to last, and they're going to be face down in a box of jelly donuts in a week, and their weight is going to rebound, and they're going to lose a bunch of muscle, and it's just horror stories.
Yeah,
But
so that's actually one of the things that I love about your company is that when we first started this, you were like, I collect the data, and I'm like, that's pretty awesome. The fact that you have the data to back up everything that you're saying, and it's just amazing to see. So I hope that you guys bear with us through this because we're going to show you a slideshow and it's going to be awesome. And it may be like, whoa, what is all this looking like right now? But it's really amazing to see how it all comes together at the end.
yeah, and ask questions in the comments. Tiffany is going to be monitoring the comment section. So just type something there. There might be a little bit of a lag. But if you don't understand something or you want us to take a deeper dive into something, ask away, all right? If you're watching the replay, you can ask anything then as well. And again, this is just a sample. This isn't, we're not showing you all the data we've collected. And we still actually, we're doing it for this cohort, but we've got 3 years to amalgamate as well. Okay, so let me just share my slideshow and we can get started. And I think this is probably going to take about half an hour to go through. I have about 20 slides.
You're welcome.
Okay, yes. So I had a note here to thank everyone in my notes, because sometimes I just want to rush into the data, right? But I really do want to take a moment and thank Tiffany for all her great coaching in the Transformer program, to thank the clients who participated in this research group and all the clients in the past who've volunteered their data. What we do is we mail them an Our Belief body composition scale because we found it to be very, very close to the DEXA scans. And so they have used the information from that and updated their trackers with it. We greatly appreciate your time and, and participation in this, because you are advancing science. You are advancing our knowledge of the effects of a very low calorie diet on the body. Yeah. There is not much research out there, especially research on women who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, some in their 30s, but women who are overweight, sometimes obese, and what the effects of doing a very low calorie diet are. It's just, there's not much research. So it's wonderful to be able to present this to you, and you ladies are having a firsthand look at this.
Yep. And I want to go ahead and mention right now, before we jump into this, that we do have our launch happening for the Transformer program. If you guys are interested in signing up for that, especially after watching this and you see all the data, let us know. We're happy to get you loaded. We have signups going through next Monday. So that's September 12th. And we're going to remind you guys at the end of this call as well. So there will be, if you can't make this launch, don't worry about it. We're going to have another launch in January as well.
Yeah, you can get on the wait list and get notified when we start taking applications for the January program. But just so you know, application cutoff is Monday. We do review them in order received, so you want to get your application in as early as possible. And qualified applicants will be invited to a webinar with me. I only do one. It's live. You can ask me anything about the program. Applying is free. You can apply, come to the webinar, and decide if it's a good fit for you or not. Then it's not a high pressure sales thing. I want you to make an informed choice. Okay. All right. Do we have anyone watching?
Looks like we've got about 4 people locked on. Patty just said hi. So hi, Patty. Thanks for coming. I hope you find this data pretty interesting. Bronwyn's on as well. Hi, Bronwyn.
Great. Okay. So I also want to thank Joan. who crunched the raw data and put it into a slideshow for today. So thank you, Joan.
And
Okay.
something else to mention as well before we hop into it is you mentioned that, thank you for everyone doing the research. Something that I want to let all of you know is that your privacy is extremely important to us. So if you do the Transformer program and you're kind of hesitant on doing the research because you don't want your personal information out there, it will never be out there. Anything that you give us that you want to stay confidential will stay confidential.
Yeah, we don't use people's names. So you'll see client 1, client 2, client 3, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Tiff. Let's get started. So this slide shows the weight loss or gain during the loading phase of the Transformer program. If you have done the Simeons protocol or the Transformer program, you're going to do a loading phase. Typically, it's 2 or 3 days. We now ask that people just load for 2 days. And you will see that some people gain weight. One person lost weight during this. And this person who lost weight is right here. It's client 11, okay? Client 11 is the only one who lost weight during the loading phase. She lost 0.6 pounds. And there are reasons typically for that. Whenever you see an outlier like that, you kind of want to know what was going on. And so we have information on people's trackers. And then this person here gained quite a bit of weight during the loading phase, right? And so most people did what we call a dirty load. Do you want to talk about a dirty load versus a clean load?
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever our clients are onboarded, we tell them you have 2 days to do either a clean or dirty load. It's your choice generally. I think we're transitioning to just a dirty load. Isn't that what we talked
No,
about?
they can do whatever they want,
Okay.
but it's got to be like a 2-day load, not a 3-day load.
So a 2-day load, clean or dirty. So if you're doing a clean load, that means that you're doing a low carb, high fat type of eating. So that's going to be limiting how much processed carbs you have, your rices, pastas, beans, stuff like that. You're going to limit, you're going to stick to fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and you're going to have lots of healthy fats, things like oils, seeds, nuts, avocado, maybe whole eggs, things like that. But for a dirty load, this is where a lot of people tend to have more fun. Everything counts. You can have absolutely anything, no limitations. So if you want a deep fried Oreo dunked in chocolate and then coated with frosting, have at it, right? You might not feel the best afterwards, but if that's what you want to do before committing yourself to a diet, then, feel free to do that.
Yeah. And that can have a psychological benefit, like you are so overeating and eating all the processed junk food that you're just like ready to start. So I think that's the biggest benefit. All right, so the next slide here is the weight loss in the diet phase. This is what most people want to know, right? How many pounds can I expect to lose on your program? All right, I want you to become a critical thinker. And my hope is like when people graduate from the Transformer program, they think more critically about nutrition, health, and weight loss. Thinking only in pounds is problematic, okay? Why? Because you're not thinking about how much muscle you could be losing, which is the basis of your metabolism. If you're like, I just want to lose as much weight as possible, well, what if you lost 30 pounds, but 15 pounds was muscle? It would be terrible for you. It'd be terrible for your bone density, it'd be terrible for your metabolism, it'd be terrible for your overall shape, right? So our goal with our clients is to have them lose as much body fat as possible while minimizing the amount of muscle that they lose. Client 17 here, she lost 40.4 pounds. She was on the diet for 86 days. Client 3 lost the least amount at 9.2 pounds. She was on phase 2 for 59 days. The average person in the group lost 21.36 pounds in phase 2. And they stayed on the diet for 63 days or 9 weeks. Okay, this does not tell us how much was muscle, how much was fat. We're going to show you that in another slide.
Well, real quick, we had talked about going ahead and talking about this on this slide as well. So I want to point out that client 17 here, she was a beast. She actually, this data is not 100% accurate just by looking at this slide alone, because she gained 8 pounds of muscle mass. That means that overall, she actually lost 48 pounds in total. But if you were just to judge that off of her starting weight and finishing weight, it would only show 40 pounds. And this is why we get that body comp data, because we can be like, you lost 40 pounds, but you gained 8 pounds of muscle. that means 100% of your losses plus more came from fat.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
Yeah. And to put it another way, I don't know what her starting weight was off the top of my head, but if she was starting at 200 pounds and she ended at 159.6, right? You think, oh, okay, 40.4 pounds, right? But actually, like Tiffany said, she lost 48.4 pounds and gained 8 pounds of muscle. It's significant. And that's where the body composition data is so important. I want people to stop thinking so much in terms of an absolute number on a scale.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this slide is the loss or the gain in the loading phase and the diet phase in body weight percentage. And I like looking at percentages because, as you know, like you might go, well, this person only lost 9.2 pounds, client 3. Yeah, but what if she only had 9 pounds to lose, right? And she was already a lean individual. And this is where a weight loss center says, you know, losing 1 pound a day, that might be possible for somebody who has a lot of weight to lose. It is not possible for people who have only a little weight to lose. Okay, so body weight percentages are more meaningful. And in this slide, what we see here is how much the gain was during the loading phase in blue as a body weight percentage, and how much the weight loss was in orange as a body weight percentage. Now we've written the numbers down because I wanted to show you something. This person lost the most in terms of body fat percentage, but the absolute number on the scale was only 27.4 pounds only. I mean, that's a great amount of weight to lose, right? But if you were just looking at total pounds lost, you might be overly focused on the fact that this person lost 40.4 pounds, which we know was actually 48. But regardless, absolute number on the scale was 40 pounds. And this was 27 pounds. But when we actually take the person's body weight and we figure out their body fat percentage loss, this person lost more body fat percentage overall. Okay? That's important to note. So starting weight really does matter. What else does this data tell us? I'm curious, like how insightful people are that are watching this. Because there is a theory, and this was actually in my book, and I think I need to update my book, that it's important to overeat during the loading phase because it will help you lose more weight during P2, the diet phase. There's this belief, and Dr. Simeons said it, and weight loss centers, and they're like, eat until you're like uncomfortable. Eat to excess. This will help spread the HCG throughout the body. It will get into your fat cells and you will lose more weight. I'm not seeing it in the data, and the data don't lie. And it's like, where is their data on this? I don't know of any weight loss center tracking this kind of information. If you are a weight loss center and you have this kind of data, oh, please share it with me. I would love to see it. But where do these conclusions come from? I think that they're just hypotheses, unproven, you know? So I'm looking at this and you might go, well, she did a big load and she lost not the most pounds, but the most body fat percentage. True, that's true. But look at this person. This person here did not gain any weight during the loading phase. And she lost a good amount of body weight. Right?
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there is a correlation that under eating or overeating during the loading phase, I believe that it doesn't really have much of an impact on the amount of weight loss in P2. Now, this is just one cohort. We have about 9 groups of data to crunch. So a couple hundred people. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when all of that data is compiled together and we can compare the different groups and see what they did. But it's also kind of nice because we do have clients that start the program. They're just like, oh, I don't want to eat it all because I just feel so gross from overeating. I feel gross from the load that I did. So it's hard to get them just to eat the minimum calories that we're trying to get them to eat. So I think that this kind of just points out that it's okay to eat to fullness. You do not have to force yourself to eat and feel sick and miserable. So just listen to your body. And I think it's a good way to get used to listening to your body anyway.
Yeah, this data now changes my position on the loading phase. Now, am I changing that position too early and I should see more cohorts data? Possibly. But just looking at it, I don't think it's important that, like, because this person here lost the second most of weight, lost the most weight total pounds, but also the second most in terms of body fat percentage, and did not significantly gain weight during the loading phase. So I would say do what you want for 2 days. Clean, dirty, eat to capacity, whatever you want. However, if you're coming into this diet and maybe you were ill for a bit and you were under eating already, I would say try to eat a little more, that's the only thing. Because, and Dr. Simeons would tell his clients that if they were in a decrepit state, he'd want them to load for an entire week prior to P2. Yeah, I know your face, but
I don't know if I can eat like that.
No. Yeah, exactly. But I would treat the loading phase as a load and I wouldn't start the diet early is what I'm saying. Okay, so
real quick, we do have a couple more people that logged on and said hi. We have got Linda on and Deanna. I think that I said your name right. Deanna or Deanna? But hi guys, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks. If you have any questions, just comment below, okay? All right, so this slide shows the weight loss in the diet phase in P2 in body weight percentage, because we care about that, right? Like we've said, if you've got a gal who's 125 pounds to start and a gal who's 225 pounds to start, well, guess who's going to lose more weight in total pounds? But in terms of percentage of body weight, that tells another story. So for example, client 18 lost 16.43% of her body weight. She lost 27.4 pounds. Okay, so she lost the most as a body fat percentage. Client 9 lost 5.82% of her body weight right here. So you're always, whenever you're dealing with averages, you're always going to have extremes on the spectrum. And that's why averages don't always tell the whole story. Okay. So, on average though, the group lost 10.85% of their starting body weight.
Which is fantastic.
It is a statistically meaningful number because according to research, 10%, losing 10% of your body weight, they recommend you don't lose more than that in 6 months for hormonal reasons. But regardless, 10% is really meaningful. Do you want to tell us why, Tiff?
Yeah, because once you have lost about 10% of your body weight, at this point, your health markers tend to improve. Blood pressure, cholesterol, if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, your markers tend to get better. Maybe some hormonal balances have leveled out a little bit. There's so many benefits just to what's happening inside of your body that it's amazing. If you have sleep apnea, it might be that you're sleeping a little bit better at this point as well.
Yeah, exactly. People do feel better and their blood work demonstrates that for most individuals. Okay, so let's look at the next slide. Average weight loss per day in P2, because people sometimes it's marketed as lose a pound a day. Okay. So let's just put on our critical thinking hats here. All right. Obviously, if you've got more body fat to lose, you could lose a pound a day, but you're not going to keep up a pound a day every day for weeks and weeks and weeks, right? You're going to lose the greatest amount of weight in the first couple of weeks because that will be mostly water loss, and then it will begin to taper over time. So this graph shows that the average pounds lost per day and the number of days the client was on the diet phase. And the linear trend, the red line, shows that the longer a client is on a diet, the less daily pounds they're going to lose. And client 16 was on P2 for only 23 days, right here. She knocked it out of the park. Her average daily loss was 0.69 pounds per day. So she went hard. She was like, get in, get out, right? The group average daily weight loss was 0.37 pounds due to the fact that they were on P2 for longer than is typical. They were on it for an average of 63 days or 9 weeks. Now, most, like when you do the Simeons protocol and most weight loss centers, they'll only give you enough HCG to do 23 days or 40-day round. And that's when it stops, right? You have to come off P2. And so obviously, if you're on 23 days, your rate of loss is going to be much greater as opposed to the longer you stretch it out. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Tiffany?
No, I think that it's important to point out that part of the reason why this happens is the longer you're on the diet, your lean or your body mass has changed. So you don't need as much calories. So basically, what was 1% of your body weight is now only maybe 0.75% of your body weight. So it just makes sense that as you get smaller, your weight loss, how quickly you lose weight, decreases.
Yeah. So real simple. If you were 200 pounds to start and you were losing like 1% of your body weight, that's 2 pounds. You become 150 pounds, 1% of your body weight is 1.5 pounds. So as you become a smaller person, the percentage of loss might stay very similar, although I would think it would decrease over time. But what happens is, you are still going to lose proportionally smaller amounts of total body weight.
Yeah.
And so what I was interested in was how would our program compare to the Simeons protocol, which is 23 days and 40 days? What would this cohort look like if we had taken them off the diet in 23 days? So Joan crunched the numbers, and it looks like people would have lost 0.52 pounds a day on average had they only been on our protocol for 23 days, which is comparable, like Rizal HCG Chica will say 0.5 pound a day. It's very much the same. Now in 40 days, the average was 0.41 pounds, and 86 days was 0.36 pounds of weight loss per day. Okay. Remember, it slows down the longer people are on it, which might be a reason to just go hard and get in and get out, right? Like try to think of this as a sprint and do your best to adhere to the protocol as well as possible and get off of P2 as fast as possible.
And this is also why, like when clients leave the Transformer program and they go into the New You program, sometimes they get frustrated because they're not seeing rates of fat loss or weight loss as rapidly as they did in the New You program. But one, they're leaner, so that's definitely at play. Two, they usually have more calories, so that's at play as well. But we still aim to lose 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think people get spoiled doing a rapid weight loss protocol, and their expectations of weight loss are quite high. And so they become demotivated when they're not losing as fast as they were when they were like on HCG. But as you can see here, 0.5 pounds per day is on par with the Simeons protocol. So what were you gonna say?
Linda here made a comment. She said, that's what I was thinking for the New You program. Maybe 9 weeks is better than 12 weeks. Well, the New You program generally is not low calorie like the Transformer program is. So it's like comparing apples to oranges in some ways. So there are some exceptions to that, but for the most part in the New You program, it's designed to be able to stay in a diet for longer amounts of time. So for that program, it's more of a marathon and not a sprint. Whereas the Transformer is more of a sprint versus a marathon.
Yeah, and there are pros and cons to each, which we won't go into here.
Yes.
But there are very good reasons why you might want to do New You instead of Transformer. I will say quickly that if you have less than 10% of your body weight to lose, like 15 pounds or less, I would recommend the New You program. And we're going to talk about why in a second.
You're welcome for that explanation, Linda. Happy to explain it.
Okay. So this graph shows that the total percentage of body weight lost by clients in relation to the number of days they stayed on the diet phase. So again, we're thinking about body fat percentage here. It's an important aspect. The longer a client is able to maintain a diet, the greater percentage of total body fat that they lose. And the group average was 10.85%. So I talked about, get in, get out. But if you have a lot of weight to lose, it's not always how fast you run, it's how long you stay in the game. Right? Consistency over time can create more weight loss in terms of total body fat percentage. Okay, next slide. This is interesting. This shows everything all in one slide. So how much weight gain or loss did they have when they were doing loading? That's the blue. How much weight gain or loss did they have reverse dieting? and how much weight gain or loss, because nobody gains weight in P2, do they have during the diet. Now, what is the reverse diet? We really haven't talked much about that, but what the reverse diet is when you're done the diet phase, we want to reintroduce calories slowly and strategically, not too slowly, but strategically, so you don't regain the weight that you lost, and you can figure out what your maintenance calories are. And so we usually spend about 4 to 7 weeks helping people move from P2 to real life. And we reintroduce new foods and things like that during that time. Now, you can see people lost weight during the reverse diet, the green part. But there were 3 people who actually gained a little bit of weight during the reverse diet. And I don't want you to be scared. Everyone's scared coming off P2 when they work with us. Only 3 clients gain weight in P3, but they gained less than 1% of their body weight back. And I found this shocking, to be honest. I'm like, Joan, why did they gain weight during the reverse diet? Because they are not supposed to gain weight during the reverse diet. Most people lose. What happened to these clients? So we did a deep dive and we found out that, client 3 was gone on occasions. She got ill. Okay. Client 5 was overeating carbs and not hitting her protein goal that we set for her and was feeling a lot more hunger. And protein, keeping your protein high helps with hunger. It helps suppress it. Client 14 overate on the carbs and had a few celebratory occasions. So it wasn't the protocol, right? It was just people weren't adhering to the protocol as planned. But still, the weight regain was minimal. It was less than 1% of their body weight.
Which is still really, really good. I mean, when 1% of your body weight, you're talking, maybe a couple of pounds at this point.
Yeah, if you're 150 pounds, it's less than 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, so it hasn't spiraled out of control at this point. They're being mindful of it. They're seeing what's happening and they're saying, okay, I see this happening. How do I address this? And that's where having a good coach comes in.
Yep. And so, we do tell people as well that you should think about hitting a target weight range when you're done your diet, where you have kind of like a settling point, not a set point, not a specific number, because it is normal for your body weight to fluctuate a few pounds. And we don't want you to lose your mind trying to be the lowest number that you ever hit while on P2 and trying to maintain that, because that is unrealistic.
Especially if you hit your goal weight, your actual target goal weight while on P2.
Yeah. And that was 1 day, so pick a weight range and you'll be a lot more psychologically happy. Yeah. So anyway, and that weight range could be like 2% of your body weight kind of thing. All right. So total weight loss, including P2 and P3, total weight loss in pounds for the diet and the maintenance phase. That was 9.2 pounds for the client who lost the least amount of weight, and 40.4 pounds for the person who lost the most amount of weight. And the group average was 22.68 pounds. And keep in mind, this is not including muscle gain.
This is just what the scale is showing us.
So, I have to give myself a little pat on the back for this data, because what we did was we grouped our clients. I had a theory. The theory was that the higher your body fat levels, the more protective they are of muscle loss. And this actually was proven out in the data. We grouped our clients into 3 different groups. Group 1 was 32 to 40% body fat levels. Group 2 was 41 to 49%, and group 3 was 50% and above. The average body fat loss in pounds for group 1 was 12.11 pounds. They lost 4.21% in body fat percentage. The average body fat loss in pounds for group 2 was 18.65. And group 3 was 28.07 pounds. They lost 7.34% in body fat percentage. That sounds a little off, so I'm going to revisit that data. But what the trend shows is the higher the body fat percentage at the start of the diet, the greater the loss in body fat. And that's what we told you before, right? The leaner you are, the less you lose. The more body fat you have to lose, the more you're going to lose.
And then it's really, really key here too, because as you go into this slide, it shows the difference in the muscle mass.
Yeah.
gain.
So this was my theory. the higher the body fat percentage, the easier it is to hold on to muscle in a very low calorie diet. And this is groundbreaking, people. I know you're not in our kind of bubble. Maybe a few of you are, but so much of what is said about rapid weight loss diets and very low calorie diets is you go on that diet, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. This is not what the data is showing us. The average muscle loss for group 1, they were 32 to 39% body fat. Let's just look at the group 1, 32 to 40% body fat level, okay? Was only 3.68 pounds. For group 2, it was 1 pound. And this is astonishing. Group 3, 50% body fat and above, they had a muscle mass gain of 3.76 pounds on average. They gained muscle consuming 800 to 1,000 calories a day. It's incredible. It's just, I've seen it before, but to see it again is just so exciting because it's like now it's being proven again and again. So the trend shows that the higher the body fat percentage at the start of the diet, the higher possibility of muscle retention or gain during the diet, provided our protocol is followed. Okay, this is really important. We offer a high protein, muscle sparing protocol. I'm not interested in helping people lose the most weight possible. We want people to lose weight in a healthy way that maintains their muscle mass because that's so important for their shape, their metabolism, their bone density, their health. And our protocol has about twice the amount of protein or more than the Simeons protocol. So when we look in this data and we look at the people who gained muscle, we believe there's a correlation with body fat percentage. But when we have people who actually lose muscle, okay, and typically a little bit of muscle is lost during a diet, I want to know in the people who lost the most muscle, how well did they adhere to the protocol? Did they walk? Because we say walk 30 minutes a day. Like some people can't walk 30 minutes a day. That's fine. Get started with 5 minutes. But did they walk? Did they adhere to their protein? Did they adhere to their calories? Because we know that when people don't eat enough protein or eat enough calories, the chance or exercise, muscle loss can increase.
Sleep too. Did they prioritize?
Sleep is so important too. That's why it's lesson 2 in the program. Yeah. Not enough sleep will make you hungry or more catabolic.
So we do have a question real fast. Deanna said, it's common to hear on the protocol not to go beyond a total of somewhere around 40-ish days. If another round is needed, many will instruct you to take 3 weeks off per round before going back on. What is your perspective on that? So our perspective is we actually allow our clients to do the full 12 to 13 weeks on P2 if they want to. We do ask that if they're going to do that, they reverse diet with us in the New You program, because as you can see, based on the data we've shown you, the reverse diet is really important. We want to get you up to maximum amount of calories so that you can allow your metabolism to get back to working optimally, because there are going to be some changes with your metabolism. We cover all that in the program. But that's one of the big key takeaways. And another one is that a lot of clients get off of these diets and they go up to 1,200 calories and they're like, oh, I'm at 1,200 calories. This is good. I can maintain here. Well, really, your body needs more than that. 1,200 calories is not enough calories for the majority of the population to maintain your weight consistently. So as far as how long to take between rounds, we recommend that you, however long you were dieting for, that is how long you take between rounds. So if you do a full 12 weeks on the protocol, you would need a full 12-week diet break before doing another round of the protocol.
Yeah. And body fat percentage matters. Like if you have a great amount of weight to lose, you could diet for longer, especially if you feel good, you're in your groove, your doctor approves, you're getting results, your mood is good, keep going. If you have if you are 50% body fat or above, why stop? Your health outcomes will be better if you drop some more weight. Now, if you're already a lean individual, we would recommend you come off sooner than later. We really do not want you to diet. We don't really want people dieting longer than 12 weeks, period. Okay, regardless of your body fat percentage. But leaner individuals should be coming off sooner, because as you can see from this, there is more muscle loss the leaner you are. And we really want to preserve that muscle loss, or preserve that muscle, I should say. So this is a conversation with your coach about how long you should stay on P2 for. But on average, this group stayed on for 9 weeks. And the people who stayed on longer lost the more body fat percentage, which has measurable health outcomes. Okay, so what kind of people gain muscle on a very low calorie diet? Some of this is genetics. It's our observation that high levels of body fat to start tend to mean that people will gain more muscle even on a very low calorie diet. Okay, but not always. We've had a few outliers where some clients were already like, they got into a like sub 32% body fat. Okay, so a normal range, and they were still able to gain some muscle. So some of that is genetics. It's also, what is your protein compliance? How is your sleep? As we mentioned, are you exercising or are you sedentary? Because if you're sedentary, you're probably going to lose more muscle. And this is why we feel like our protocol really shines and is superior because of this, because we've looked at the body composition data. I can't tell you what happens to people on the Simeons protocol because I don't have that data. We don't have people doing a 500 calorie diet and being sedentary and only eating half the protein we recommend, but I suspect they are losing more muscle, and especially if they're on the leaner side. And by lean, I would say maybe normal body fat percentage, you know. All right. So next slide is energy levels. It was very interesting to us to track this. We want to know how people are doing, because if their energy levels are tanking, we might change their macros. This is the personalized approach. Every week, a client checks in with us. We check on their weight loss. We don't just care about how much weight you're losing. We want to know, what is your sleep, your hunger, your energy like. If your energy is poor, we're going to have a conversation about maybe changing your diet. We asked our clients to rate their energy levels, and 1 was a zombie and 5 was the Energizer Bunny. Energy levels started at 3.5. They gradually increased as clients adjusted to the protocol. The client average was 3.8 out of 5 throughout the program, which is a B plus, right? That's 76%, which is pretty darn good for a very low calorie diet, and actually goes against the advice that if you do a very low calorie diet, you're going to be a zombie, you know. Client sleep levels. Typically, when you drop carbs, sleep gets really crappy for people. This was sort of a surprising finding, considering low calorie diets usually do interfere with sleep, and low carb diets interfere with sleep. But, you know, we asked our clients to rate themselves, and sleep was at its lowest at 3.5. It gradually increased. The average was 3.9, which is pretty close to is 78% basically. I think that sleep probably improved because it's such an emphasis in the Transformer program. Like week 2, we talk about sleep, create a pre-bedtime ritual for yourself, no electronics before bed, get some blackout curtains, you know, people are not consuming alcohol, which interferes with a rapid eye movement or deep sleep cycles. So I think they start learning to sleep better by improving their sleep hygiene, and that also helps. Next slide is hunger levels. How hungry were people? Okay. It looks to us like week 3, they were the hungriest. It was about a 3.8 on week 3. But they averaged 4.1 throughout the program, which is amazing, right? That's like 82%. People just were not that hungry. Consuming 800 to 1,000 calories, which is amazing. So why is this? Well, some people will say it's the HCG, it suppresses the appetite, and I truly used to believe that. But now that we've been doing this for so many years, and we have the data, I don't believe that to be true. So I have a very exciting slide coming up. It could take a couple weeks to go into ketosis. I think this is why week 3 people were the hungriest, and those that kind of stuck with it, their hunger got improved, right? Mm-hmm. But a very low calorie diet, we're talking 1,000 calories or less, research shows that it can suppress the appetite, and a high protein diet can also suppress the appetite. And so I think it has less to do with the HCG and more to do with the diet itself. And why do I believe this? Well,
It's funny that we're getting to this now because we actually had a question earlier if asking if we had the data for HCG versus non-HCG.
yes,
What are we would
yes.
get to that?
So the group average for those who did injections, HCG injections from a doctor, was 4.05 out of 5. That's really good, right? For those who did alternative methods such as patches and drops, they were a 4.15. So the homeopathic was just as effective as the injections. And I will say the homeopathic is not real HCG, okay? Client 9, who did not use HCG at all or any homeopathic stuff, her hunger levels of 4. Still really excellent. I wish we had more clients who had done the protocol without HCG or any homeopathic stuff, but her hunger was a 4. So these are all very, very, very similar. It's excellent. It really is. Like, to not feel that hungry on a diet is amazing, right? It lets you stick with the diet longer. We've also had about 20 some people do our protocol without HCG, and they said, and they have done it with HCG in the past, and they said they felt about the same. So we truly believe that it is not necessary to order HCG to do the Transformer program or be on HCG. If you want to, go for it. But at this point, I don't think it's necessary. So that's it. Any questions about this presentation? I'd love to hear from you.
So there was one question and I kind of answered it in chat already. She said, do you recommend any additional vitamins? And I told her, not unless you have a vitamin deficiency that has been diagnosed by your physician.
Yeah, but except on the very low calorie diet phase, we do recommend a fish oil and a multivitamin and multi-mineral. Yeah, but once normal eating resumes, you won't need it. That's just to fill any nutritional gaps because you're not getting a lot of nutrients during the diet phase. Any other questions?
That's all that I see. Can we get our individual data?
You have it on your tracker. It's all on your tracker.
Yeah, this was all from the tracker.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more, we have a page. It's the transformerprogram.com/sign up. And we are taking applications until Monday, September 12th. And I will be hosting a webinar on Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central for qualified applicants. So be sure to get your application in early. Applying is free. You can come to the webinar, learn about it, and decide if it's a fit for you. Our next launch will be in January. If you want to get on that launch, we can put you on the wait list for that. So just go to transformativeprogram.com/sign up to learn more. You're watching this in our Facebook group, but if you're watching this replay on YouTube, our Facebook group is Healthy, Fit, and Unstoppable. The link is there. My Instagram, it's a mix of a lot of personal as well as business stuff. It's Adele_Frizzell. And I have a business page. It's Adele Frizzell Coaching. So yeah, please like and follow those pages. We have a YouTube channel as well. Just look for Adele Frizzell. Go ahead, Tiffany.
We have a couple of questions that are coming in right now. One is, does vitamin D impact results negatively? I was always told that it does. No.
Never heard of that. I don't know why it would.
All it's going to do is give you more.
In terms of vitamins, we also recommend magnesium for people who are having problems with elimination.
Yeah, that is true. And those are usually like things that we talk about one-on-one with people as we see things pop up as well. And then let's see what else was on here. Vita wants to know if we can let them know which ID number the specific people were for the research group so they can see how they compare on the slide sheet.
We won't share names. If you want to know, Vita, what number you were, we can do that. Just email joan@adelfrizzell.com and she can tell you if you were like client 11 or client 17, etc. Yeah. Any other questions?
I think that that's it for right now. If you
Okay,
guys have any more questions, we can always come back and answer them in text after we finish up this live.
so that's it. I hope you found this informative, interesting, life-changing, mind-bending.
I know. I love
I'm a
seeing the
little bit of
data.
a geek,
Seeing the-
so I find it
Yeah.
totally fascinating. Things that I really believed in strongly about HCG, I no longer hold on to because of the data.
Well, it's kind of an important skill to have, is to be able to look at the outside information and change your beliefs, because your beliefs is not necessarily science, right? We have to follow the science. We can't always follow what we think the science should say, because then we're just leading you on a wild goose chase. So I think it's great that you're able to challenge your beliefs and say, I'm going to follow the science and I'm going to follow the data instead of what I thought would be ideal.
Yeah. And sometimes our beliefs come from incomplete data or believing in correlations. Like, well, here's a common one. The HCG diet is the only one that's ever worked for me. So I know that the HCG works. And it's like, well, maybe it worked for you because you were following a very low calorie diet, which suppressed your appetite and had less to do with the HCG prescription itself.
Or maybe you were eating more protein than you've ever eaten in your entire life.
And that suppressed your appetite. Yeah. And maybe you felt better because you were eating cleaner and you had more vegetables, which we know actually creates, it can have an impact on us mentally.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just a placebo effect.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, placebo is huge, and doctors don't discount it in studies. When they do randomized trials and they give people a placebo, they always expect, for example, a weight loss study where there's a placebo and then the medicine, they expect weight loss with the placebo because people believe so strongly. Now, the weight loss should not be significant compared to the medicine, right? But there's still going to be some weight loss. And so, when people invest the money into HCG and a prescription, and they invested time and energy reading about it, learning about it, watching videos and stuff, there's so much conviction there that can really propel them to get results. But it's possible the results would come anyway without the prescription. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for your time today. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.